So you've been thinking about getting into trading, right? But it feels like this huge, complicated world, and you have no idea where to even start. Well, you're in the right place. We are going to lay out a complete step-by-step roadmap that will take you from absolute beginner to making your first trade. And this isn't theory. This is all based on real-world experience. Let's dive in. Everything you're about to see, this entire plan, is basically 6 years of my life in the financial markets, all boiled down. That's 6 years of making mistakes, finding what works, and learning some really tough lessons. The whole point here is to give you a clear path, one that can honestly save you a ton of time and money by helping you avoid these same exact traps that get most new traders. Okay, so first things first, where do we even begin? Well, your very first decision, and let me tell you, it's the most important one, is choosing which market you're going to trade in. This single choice pretty much sets the stage for everything that follows. You've basically got three main playgrounds to choose from. There's the Indian stock market, where you're trading shares of companies. You've got the crypto market for things like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then there's the Forex market, which is all about trading global currencies. Now, I've spent a lot of time in all three, and each one is its own unique beast. So, after all that time, what's my take? If I had to wipe the slate clean and start all over again today, knowing what I know now, I would head straight for the Forex market, no question. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. I want you to think of it like this, like you're opening a restaurant. Trading in the Indian market, that's kind of like setting up your restaurant in a small village. Yeah, you can do okay, but your potential for growth is always going to be limited by the size of the village. The Forex market, on the other hand, is like opening that same restaurant right in the heart of a massive city, like Mumbai. The sky is the limit. The potential is just on a completely different scale. All right, so you've picked your market. Let's say you're going with Forex. What's next? You need your tools. And in trading, your two most essential tools are your broker and your trading platform. These are absolutely non-negotiables. So what even is a broker? It's simple, really. They're the middleman. You want to buy some euros and someone else wants to sell them. The broker connects you two, makes the trade happen, and takes a tiny fee for their trouble. They're your gateway to the market. But why is picking the right one so important? Can't you just grab the first one you find on Google and call it a day? The answer is a huge, emphatic no. And you really need to understand why, because it could make or break your entire trading career before it even starts. Look, choosing a bad broker can be a total disaster. They can hit you with such high fees that they just eat away at your profits and make your losses even bigger. And even worse, there are straight-up scams out there, brokers that will just vanish with your money. You could have the best strategy in the world, but it's worthless if you can't trust the people holding your funds. So please do your homework here. Okay, once you've got a broker you trust, you need the software to actually place your trades. Think of the broker as the engine, but the platform, that's your dashboard. You've got great options like MetaTrader 5, TradeLocker, and CTrader. They're all industry standards, super reliable, and give you all the charting tools you'll ever need. So you've got your market, you've got your tools. Now comes the really fun part, the creative part. This is where you actually build your personal trading strategy. You get to define the exact rules that tell you when to buy and when to sell. Now listen, you could spend the next 5 years learning hundreds of different technical indicators and complex patterns. But if I could cut through all that noise and give you the one single concept that matters more than anything else, the one thing that helps you understand why the market actually moves, it would be this: liquidity. In the simplest terms, liquidity is just where the money is. It's about finding those spots on the chart where tons of buy and sell orders are all piled up. If you can learn to see where these zones are, you'll have an incredible advantage because you'll start to think about where the big institutions are likely to push the market. Now, of course, it's not just about liquidity. You'll want to pair that with a few other core ideas. You need to understand support and resistance, how to draw trend lines, how to analyze volume, and how to read the market's momentum from the price charts. But that's it. The secret is to master these few things really, really well instead of getting distracted by a million different shiny objects. And that brings us to the final, and I would argue the most critical phase of all. You have your market, your tools, and a strategy you think might work. Before you risk a single dollar of your real money, you have to test it. You absolutely have to. I mean, just think about it for a second. Would you jump in a car and try to drive on a highway without ever taking a driving lesson? Of course not. That's insane. Well, coming into the market with your hard-earned money without any data to prove your strategy works is exactly the same thing. It's a recipe for disaster. So here is the path. It's simple. First, you backtest. Go back through at least a year's worth of old charts and trade your strategy as if it were live. See how it did. Second, you improvise. Look at your losing trades. Is there a pattern? Maybe it doesn't work on Fridays. Well, stop trading on Fridays. Tweak the rules. Then you move to a demo account to practice the physical act of trading with zero risk. And only after you've done all that do you even think about going live. And here's why that testing is so important. When you're back testing, you should be aiming for a win rate of, say, 80%. And you might think, wow, that's really high. But here's the thing. When you go live with real money and real emotions on the line, that rate is going to drop. It just is. So an 80% strategy in testing might turn into a really profitable 60% strategy in the real world. But if you start with something lower, it could easily become a losing strategy. So there you have it, a full roadmap from A to Z on how to get started. We've talked about picking your market, getting the right tools, building a simple but powerful strategy, and the absolute need to test everything. The path is laid out for you. The only question left is, what's your first step going to be?